glad you're here. The name is Corning, Erastus Corning. You must be the young railroad expert that was recommended to me. Other people don't think much of this newfangled nonsense, but I think investment into this railroad thing and your company is money well spent. I'm the proud owner of a hardware company, and the more railway lines you construct using my steel, the richer I'll get. So don't go bankrupt. But why don't you just get started using the to-do list I created? My company is situated in Albany, so you should connect this city as soon as possible. Don't worry about the difficult terrain. Clever planning is everything.
Hello, hello. Welcome. So, I've given Phasmophobia a little bit of a rest, and I've decided to have a go at Railway Empire 2. I've played Railway Empire 1 quite a while back, enjoyed that game, and since this one has recently come out, I thought I'd give it a try. So, I'm going to do Campaign 1, Campaign Mission 1. Let me pause the game. Oh, I lost 5 days there, look, because I didn't pause. Spacebar to pause. So anyway, I'm going to give this a go. Try my best. I've got a little bit of a plan. I did have a play around about an hour ago, learning, any new keybinds that exist for this game, and I think I've got a plan for how I want to approach this campaign mission 1. So starting off, you've got one much larger competitor, this guy here, based out of either Washington, Philadelphia, or New York. In fact, I think he's based out of New York. Yeah, that's him, Flamingo Rail. So the idea of the campaign is that we've got to knock him off the top seat, be number 1. And to do that, we're given some tasks, as you can see up here. So we've got deliver 8 loads of timber, deliver 8 loads of sugar to Boston, transport 320 people to Portland, reach 25,000 citizens in Boston. And our headquarters is based out of Boston as well. So Boston's our hometown, and it's where we need to concentrate. At first, you start off with a single station and another station at Greenstop, which is like a resource station. So if you look at the map, it's a little bit easier to see with this view. There's multiple resources dotted around the map, and every town, if I click on it, has a demand for these resources. So as we can see, for example, this town wants grain, but it's currently receiving 0. It doesn't have any, and none are on the way, but it does want 0.4. Okay, so 0% has been met. It is receiving cows, and it's receiving 100% of what it needs. Corn, the same, it's not receiving any. So really, to build up a city, if you look here, it says fulfillment of demand, 41.7%. Okay, we need to get that above 60%. If you get it above 60%, then the town will start to grow. If it goes below 40%, I think it was 40%, then citizens will drop. Okay, now if we look at our task list, it says we want to reach 25,000 citizens in Boston. So as hard as we can, we need to try and fulfill as much of these resources that Boston needs in order to bring its population upwards. Okay, so inside each town, you will notice a little icon appears with this one's got a piece of meat. That indicates what's made at this town. So as you can see in Boston, we've got this meat factory. It requires cows and it produces meat. If we look at another town, let's say New York, you can see that they produce cloth and clothes, but they don't produce meat. So hopefully they would need some meat. Okay, now they've actually got all of their demands met at the moment for meat. However, we can oversupply them a little bit. So I might need to think about setting up a train route between Boston and New York to supply them meat. Okay, these little icons indicate that if we use these resources, if we set up a station between them and a town, they'll give us a certain amount of money, so 250,000 or 125,000 if we connect up here. Now, right off the bat, there's already a station built here, so that saved us some money. We actually own it, it's our station. So we're already set up, really, for a connection here. Which is nice to get us started. So what we will do now, remember cows and meat. This is a resource that Boston needs, so we should try and make that connection pretty soon. So what we'll do is we'll connect up using this button here, the track construction. Now, as you can see down here, we've got 8 lines available at this station. Okay, yellow means the line hasn't been built. Green means it's constructed and you can just head straight off, start using it. All right. Because this resource, here's what I'm going to do. Because this resource is to the left of the station, okay, I'm actually going to build from this point here, from this last line. Now, what that's going to do, if I click there and then I drag it and I select this green one, since it's already built up here, if I make that connection, okay, there's a couple of things. What's going to happen? You see how it's extremely expensive? 391,000. That's actually very expensive. If I take this line back and move it to here, for example, it's still expensive. Look how much money that's costing. And I've only gone a few, meters or miles or whatever, right? It's really expensive. And that's because if you imagine these lines were numbered 1, 2, 3, all the way to 8, if you build on line number 8, it has to construct all the prior lines. So it's going to build 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. That's why it's so expensive, because I'm building at the very end, the very last railway, and it's going to build all the others first. So if I was to delete this and, build from this line, you'll notice it's extremely cheap. It says there on the right-hand side, 6,700, 7,000. That's a lot cheaper. If I build from the second line, you'll see it's a little bit more expensive, but we're not all the way up in the 300,000s like we were talking about earlier. Yeah, so I could build from here to make things a little bit cheaper. I'm not going to do that, however. I've got a little bit of a plan. So I'm going to take a bit of a hit here building this line. I'm going to build from the very last one. Boston's our hub, all right? It's our main station on this map. So I'm going to make good use of it. I'm going to use all of those 8 lines eventually. So I'm going to start building from the 8th one. Now this line here, number 8, is very close to the resource. So that's not very long. That's good. It's got a 2% incline. Okay, the steeper a track is, the harder it's going to be for trains to get up there, which is going to slow them down. Okay, now this 42 mile per hour, that tells you that no matter what kind of train you have, it's only going to be able to use this line at a maximum of 42 miles per hour. And the reason being is probably because of this quite tight turn that we've got. Doesn't look very tight, does it? But for a train, that is quite a tight turn. So to fix that problem, we can actually drag this line out a little bit. Now, what you'll notice is all of these sections have now turned to max. So in the future, if we end up getting really fast trains, they should be able to use this line with no problems. They won't be restricted to a slow speed. 402,000, that's quite a lot of money. I don't know if I can make it any cheaper by moving the line around a little bit. So if I drag it a bit more, no, I'm just making a bit of a mess there. Just making a bit of a mess. Let me try that again. Let me move it to here, click it to there. Right, we've got the 42 miles per hour problem. Okay, we're max. 404, oh, it's getting more expensive. So the cheapest I can get it with everything maxed is about that 405. So let's do it. Let's build that. Okay, so now we've got this line. If we click on track direction, we've got this black and white style pattern. Okay, and it's not moving. If I was to click it, you'll see it's moving right. If I was to click it, you'd see it's moving left. Okay, that indicates the direction that trains will travel on. If it's the static one, it means that trains will travel in both directions on this line. But it also means you can only have one train on this track. Okay, if you had a train coming this way and you had a train at the station, it would have nowhere to go. There's no room for it to pass any other trains. So this is okay for resource stations, right? I'm calling this like a resource station. That's okay. I'm only going to have one train at the moment going between resource stations and my main towns. So now that we've got that built, I'm happy for it to stay as the single dotted line. I'm also going to put on there if we click on this railway buildings, I'm going to build a supply tower. I'm going to put it anywhere really, halfway across. Okay, that will supply the train with sand, water, coal, everything it needs to keep itself going. And what should we do now? Let's build an actual rail line. Let's build a train, put it on there, get it doing its stuff. What we'll do is we'll say we're going to start off at green stop, right? If I click in green stop inside this green circle, I want you to start at green stop and make your way to Boston. Okay, so here we go. It's going to start at green stop. It's going to make its way to Boston. And it tells you here that it's going to collect cattle and lumber and bring it to Boston. Okay, although it says passengers and meat on the way back, it isn't going to bring anything back. This is just a resource station. This resource station has no requirement for meat or mail or passengers, so this won't happen. Okay, then here we have to choose a locomotive. So what I'm going to do is for my resource stations, right, my ones off to the side, I'm going to choose the cheapest locomotive that I have. So this is the John Bull. This is, at the moment, the most expensive, fastest locomotive that I have. If I click the back arrow, we've got this little grasshopper. Okay, it's a lot cheaper, about half the price. It's definitely slow, but hey, look, I'm very close. This is a short little line. I don't really need a fast train, okay, or a fast locomotive. John Bull might well be a bit of overkill, and to save money, I'm going to go with the cheaper option. So we select Grasshopper. How many trains? Well, I've got this single line, so really I can only have one train. So I'm going to confirm that. And let me just unpause for a second, and as you can see, we've got a little train approaching the station. And what that should be doing is, as you can see here, it's collecting cows. And it's collecting cows because Boston needs cows for meat. So we've got our first little railway set up. Let's pause the game again. Next up, task list. So, deliver 8 loads of lumber to Boston. Okay, there's a lumber yard here that's being serviced by this station. Eventually, that task should get completed. All right. We've also got deliver 8 loads of sugar to Boston. So there's no sugar here. We do have sugar down here, Jackson Farm. We've also got sugar up here. Now, the reason we'll want to pick this sugar resource to complete the task is because it's got this connection bonus. It's going to give us 250,000 if we connect up this resource within 120 days. So this is definitely the resource we should be aiming for to complete that task. All right. We've also got transport 320 passengers from Boston to Portland. So Portland is this town to the right-hand side. We need a passenger connection to this location. All right, so I'm going to set that up right now. So my plan is, at the moment, and this could very well change as I go through the game, my plan at the moment is to keep the outer stations, so the outer lines, so this line here and this line here, the outer ones, I'm going to keep those for resources. Those are my resource lines, okay? If this town needs anything directly, I'm going to have it come in on these external outside train lines, all right? Moving in a little bit, these two lines will be for freight, the next two lines will be for mixed, and the next two lines will be like a passenger service, sort of an express line for passenger and mail. So I'm going to have dedicated line for mail, dedicated for freight, and a mixed line in the middle. Let's see if that works. It might not work, but I'm going to try my best. Again, it's a new game. I'm sure we'll figure out the flows as it goes along. Right. Build a train station. Portland doesn't have a train station, so let's build one. It's shift and mouse wheel to tilt, and we can only build within this green section, okay? Now, looking at the map, there isn't any point in me building the station like that, okay? All that's going to happen there is that you'll, end up building lines that head into the sea. So you're better off to kind of follow the direction of the map. So because we're located next to the sea, I'm going to aim myself sort of east to west, I guess you would say. Kind of in line with here. And we'll put it at the northern edge. Okay, not sure what happened there. Oh, click. There we go. It's placed. Here's our new station. Okay, right. We are going to build a line. So again, looking at Boston, I said that this lane number 1 is going to be for resources. So this next one in is the beginning of my express line for passengers. And I'm going to connect it to the second line of Portland. Okay, now these helpful little pop-ups allow you to build a second line in parallel with the one you've just placed. So if I click this northern one, it says, look, 108,000, do you want to build a line directly next to your last one? Yes, I do. I would like that. The reason I would like that is I expect to have one passenger train making its way this direction while a second passenger train makes its way back again. This way, rather than just one train, which will, it'll be less efficient to do things that way. I expect there to be quite a lot of passengers and mail that want to go between these two towns. So to service that, I'm going to have two locomotives instead of one servicing that route. So let's do this again. Track direction. I'm going to go right, heading right on the right lane and left on this left one. Okay. Let's have a look. That looks good. Now, in order for the trains to be able to swap lines, you need to put down these, what's that called? Grideron? These griderons. That allows a train to move from one line to the other. Okay, that's required if you've got two trains moving in different directions. There we go. And just like before, we'll need to put some sort of a supply tower. I'll put it halfway in between. That's that built. So that should be fine. Let's build another new line. Let's change this to a John Bull. I think people want to ride fast trains, don't they? And they want their mail arriving quickly. Let's use the fastest locomotive that we've got. 21 miles per hour, bit of traction, decent reliability. Yeah, let's see how it goes. So I want two trains. All right, and it says loading automatic. Now I'm going to change that at the moment to express. Express meaning passengers and mail. It's not going to pick up freight and move it between these two towns. One reason I'm not moving freight between these two towns at the moment is that Portland, as you see, creates milk. It creates meat. And if you look at Boston, it also produces meat. So there's no resources at the moment really to share between these two towns. Now, my meat resource could also be forwarded on to Portland, and that's something I'll do later. There's two ways to do that. I could either build a second line maybe that goes to Portland directly from the meat resource, or we'll build a warehouse in Boston, which I'll go into a little bit later. But, for the moment, we've got two lines, one resource and one express moving between Portland and Boston. Let's just get that started and make sure the trains are having no issues. Hopefully we'll be seeing one of the trains soon. I did build it, didn't I? Did I make a mistake? What did I do? Let's have a look. No, I've only got one. Oh, that's a bit weird. Okay, sorry, I thought I built it. So again, Boston to Portland, two trains, two John Bull trains, confirm. That's better. Yep, so we've got one train on the track. Boston and Albany Railroad. We're being innovative. So under here is a train. It's currently loading up with passengers and mail. And it's making its way to Portland. We've set a new... Oh, no, not us. Flamingo Rail have set a new record. Okay, that's a competitor way ahead of us. So we've got this little icon saying that this train is waiting to be deployed. It's waiting for the first train to reach its destination. Once that happens, the second train should start and make its way across. Let's pause it again. So you've got this resource option at the top. If I move it to the left-hand side, you'll see that we're at the beginning stages of the game where we've got only the very basics of locomotive technology. Okay, as I move to the right, you see there's a lot more that you get later on, a lot better trains, a lot better technology. That's a long way off. Let's go back to the beginning. So here we've got resource points or innovation points. We've got 200 to spend. Every month we get 60. So with 200 innovation points, what we can either do is wait until we get 300 and we can select the speedometer, which gives our trains a little bit of extra speed. Okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to spend my innovation points at the moment. I'm going to spend them on the warehouse now. And I'll probably spend it on foundations as well. Foundations makes building bridges a little bit easier. Now the ground isn't very flat in this area. There's a lot of mountains. So as we expand around this direction, I kind of expect that we'll be building quite a lot of bridges. So to make them cheaper is always a good thing. So back to the tasks. Deliver 8 loads of lumber, that's okay. Sugar, let's work on that now. 320 passengers, as you can see, we've done 47 already, so we're making progress towards this task. So the outstanding one really is sugar to Boston. Okay, so Boston is here. We've got this sugar resource up this way. This is what I think I want to connect to. But before I do that, I'd like to make a train connection to New York. New York being a big city, I can imagine there's a lot of people that would want to transfer between these two towns. And I find that express being, passengers and mail, I find those to be more profitable than freight at the beginning stages anyway. I'm not sure how it is later. So what I'm going to do is actually construct another station, and I'm going to place it up here in New York. I'm not too worried about where I put it. I think I'll just put it sort of north-south. And as I said, it's like an express train, passenger train. So I'm going to connect from rail number 2 onto rail number 2 of Boston. And wow, look at that, $972,000 or whatever the money is here. And we've got this lovely pink line, and we've got this red circle. What the pink line means is it's building a tunnel. Okay, it's very hilly here. As you can see, this is relatively flat, but it gets steeper and steeper until you've got this plateau, and then it drops off again. So we've got a bit of a plateau here, which the trains have to get up and then down again. If we can avoid this plateau, it will make the train's journey a lot easier. We've also got this red circle that indicates an Indian reservation. We can't go through Indian reservations. We have to go around them. Now, some Indian reservations move. They're not always in the same place. So if that Indian reservation moves off, you can end up using that space. But at the moment, we can't. The Indian reservation is there. But that's fine. I don't like the idea of this big tunnel. So let's go back to that. So how can we fix it? Well, we can drag the train line again. Okay. So here, the pink again, that indicates tunneling, which we want to avoid. So let's see if there's anywhere we can go that doesn't involve tunneling. Here. Wow, look at that. 200, 195, 160, 195. What's the cheapest we can make it? I think the cheapest is around about here, $194,000. And the good news is, look at this, 0% incline, meaning it's completely flat, and max speed. So trains, although it's a bit of a long journey, it's not a straight line. It's a longer journey, but it's completely flat, and the trains can go at max speed. So I think that's a good angle to build this this railway line. So let's build that one, and I'll also build its parallel. Okay, now the parallel is slightly cheaper. It was 195,000 for the initial line. This one's 167. The reason being, the previous line kind of reshaped the environment around it, so it's already flattened areas. So your second track is actually a little bit cheaper because it can make use of that modified ground. So let's build a second track. Let's talk about the direction. So again, I want that one going right, this one going left. I'm going to put in my Guardians or whatever they're called, so the trains can change tracks. And I'm going to put my railway building. So let's find a halfway point. Let's plop down one of these supply towers. That's probably not halfway, but that's best. That'll do. Let's change view. Let's set up another new line. So I guess this one can be maybe New York to Boston. I want it to be express again. And John Bull, let's do 2 trains, same as last time. All right, let's get the game started, make sure that's happy. Yep, we got a train on the tracks, ready to head off. Now, we can attack the resource here. Let's try and get this 250,000. Let's build another train station. Again, I'm going to pause it. Wrong one. I want a train station. And again, this is quite steep. I don't think I want to go this way. What I think I might do is have it come across here. Now, I could either go directly to Boston, or I could take the sugar to New York, where it can get forwarded to Boston. I don't know. What do I want to do here? So change of plan, guys. I was originally thinking about sending the sugar directly to Boston. But instead of that, I think I'm going to bring it into New York, and I'll explain what I'll need to do to get this to work properly. So I'm going to put it into Station 8, which makes it a little bit, Line 8, which makes it a little bit more expensive. Okay, I'm going to set up a train ride from Kelly to New York. Again, it's a resource, so I'm going to keep it as a grasshopper. Only need one, and it's freight. Okay, I'm going to set that up. One important thing I forgot to mention: trains require maintenance. So for my Boston station, since it's pretty central, there's a train coming in from Greenstop. There's a train between Portland and the one between New York. It's a good place here to set up a, if I click on the station itself, you can build a maintenance depot, 80,000. So if any of the trains that come through this town require maintenance, this guy will take care of it. I'm going to need to do the same thing up here in New York, because I now have this train from Kelly coming in that's going to need servicing. So let me select the station there, set that up also as a maintenance station. And let's just unpause. Yep, we've got sugar now coming into New York. So what I'm going to need to do with New York now is set it up with a warehouse. So what warehouses do is you can set some goods, 6 types of goods that you'd like this station to store. So we're bringing, if I just accept that, it's very expensive, 140,000. So you got to be careful where you put them. But basically, it will store up sugar as it brings in. Once the town that hosts the warehouse has an overflow of this product, it will start going into the warehouse, where you can then distribute that sugar or any other resource. You can redistribute that to your other towns that are on your train line. Okay, so it becomes like a hub. So if I click on the station again, go to warehouse here, we can choose 6 goods. So if I choose sugar now, yeah, it says we've got no sugar here, but that should start going up once New York's sugar needs have been met. Okay, so we need our train basically to navigate up and down a few times before we'll start seeing sugar go in there. Then what we'll have to do is set up some more train routes for freight between our towns. At the moment, we're only doing people and mail, but soon we'll have to start doing this freight across these destinations. So let's wait and see if this connection is accepted and we get the 250,000. We'll probably skip ahead for that. And we got it. An extra 250,000, which will come in handy. And everything's looking good. No problems here. Looking at our train station, looking at the town, you can see they've now got quite a bit of sugar. Okay, it's only 50% of what they need at the moment, but the train's just got started. I'm sure it will quickly fill up. Looking at the resource itself, the sugar resource, you can see there's 9 available. That will start going down as the train's just arrived. So it's going to be picking up this resource. 3 left, yeah. So we've got a fair amount on. Okay, so really what I need to do is think about, the demand for meat has been reduced as they've reached their maximum stock level. So what it's saying here is if I click on this town, you'll see that they basically haven't got any buyers now for their meat. They don't have any buyers. So they're now starting to store meat rather than export it. So we need to try and find a buyer for meat products, which could well be New York. New York likes its steaks, I believe. So they've got 100% of their needs probably filled by that other train line, unfortunately. But, what's to say we can't send them a little bit more. So let's set up another bunch of lines in order to start transferring freight rather than express. I'll start that by going to our next 2 set of lines. So I'm going to go parallel to... I'm going to click in lane number 3 of New York and click on lane number 3 of Boston, and it's following our existing lines, which I'm happy with. Let's build that, and let's build another one right next to it, a parallel line. Okay, then we need to choose direction. Well, again, I want you going that way, and I want you going this way. We need to put our... I want it to be 2. I want it to go across 2 tracks. We need to set this. We need to set this. Now, if you remember, I had a water tower sort of thing. The little... where is it? This guy. This is the machine that tops up the locomotives with the sand and the coal and you name it. Once you've built one, if you build parallel tracks, it will automatically expand. You don't need to build a second one, across the new lines that you've built. They just automatically expand, which is really useful. So we've got a new line here. Let's build a second set of lines. So from Boston, I also want to build lines to Portland. And I'll build a parallel one. And I'll put in my gurdons, or whatever they're called, on each side. There we go. And let's just double check. Yeah, this is automatically expanded as well. Right, let's build up a line. I'm going to build a John Bull fast train. I'm going to go 2 of them. This is an experiment. Okay. I'm going to build 2. And I want them to be freight only. And I'm going to start off in New York. Okay. We're going to start off in New York. And here's where we have to be careful. If I click on Boston, right, it is indicating that it will use the correct tracks, but it could have jumped to the other tracks, okay, and that would have caused a problem. I would have ended up with 4 trains using the same track. Now, this is indicating it's going to use the correct tracks, but I'm going to show the proper way to do this. So if you wanted to use certain tracks in particular, then you do it this way. You select the town, and then you just click on the track you want it to use next. So it's going to be coming out of here, and it's going to be going down this line here. So I've clicked on this outgoing line, okay, and it's given it a waypoint 1. After that, I want it to go to Boston, and then from Boston, I would like it to go to Portland. Okay, so again, when it comes out of Boston, I want it to use this line here. I guess it's not letting me because I haven't clicked on Portland. It needs to know it's going to Portland. So there's waypoint 2, which is great. And on its way out and I go to Portland. On its way out, I want it to go onto that line, back to Boston, then use this line on your way back to New York. So after waypoint 4, it should arrive back in New York and start all over again. Let's see. Your train line runs on long sections without direction and tracks with direction. Okay, so I think I forgot to set the directions between Portland. Let me check. Yes, I did. So again, right and left. Now it should be happy. There shouldn't be any problems. We should have a new train starting. Okay, now I believe that might be my express train has jumped to the other tracks. Bugger. So I'm going to need to edit my original route. So my express line, I want it to use that as you go to Boston. And then from Boston, I want you to go to... Maybe I'll send you to Portland as well, or expand you a little bit. There we go. You're going to Portland as well. Then on your way out, you're taking that line, and then back to Boston, and then to that line, and then you should be back in New York. Confirm. I hope that made sense. And if I skip ahead a little bit, hopefully we'll see the trains using the right tracks. Yeah, so this is my express train, and it's running on the left-hand side, which is great. And this is my freight train, which is running on the the left-hand lanes. Our sugar resource is struggling to keep up with demand at the moment. One way to fix that is to buy the business and automatically expand it. If you click on a resource, you can try and buy it. Okay, starting bid's 260. I don't really want to buy it, but maybe it would be interesting to show you. Let's start a bidding war. Okay, 290,000. No one bidded. So the business is now mine. I didn't really want to buy it, if I'm honest. So we've acquired it. Now that I own it, you've got an option to resize it, as in I could spend money on it to make it larger. Let's do it. Let's make it bigger. So now it should produce a little bit more. And hopefully this little train that we've got can keep up. But yeah, that should improve our sugar resources a little bit. If we look at the warehouse, you can see that we're starting to collect sugar and store it. And now that we've set up a freight train between these towns, whenever the train gets into New York, it should start to pick up sugar and bring it to Boston and Portland. Yeah, this is our express train. It's in the correct place. Good stuff. And it's got a full train of people heading to New York. Maybe we should think about adding an extra train. Let's add an extra train. Up here I can look at all our lines. So here's a freight. There's an express. Freight. Express. Thinking about adding another train to this line as well. See if that works out. We've got a little bit more research. 120, but nothing to spend it on. So looking at Boston, looking at its fulfillment, it's a little bit higher, but we're still lacking in most of the types that it needs. They're desperate for beer. They've now got clothes, which is great. They're starting to get sugar. You see that? They're starting to get sugar, which is fantastic. Let's have a look at
Great.
Portland.
My company owes you.
You're welcome. Let's have a look at Portland. So Portland is also starting to receive sugar, which is good news, and clothes. And it doesn't...
Very good. What we're doing here really has the potential to revolutionize the way we have been transporting goods up till now.
Excellent. Right. They are missing cows. They could do with more cows. I don't want to see the report. They could do with more cows. Now, the reason is we're not exporting cows from Boston to Portland. Boston's the only place receiving cows. So to fix that problem, what we'd need to do is construct a warehouse in Boston as well. Okay, so what we can then say is that I want you to start collecting, because I've gone right past it, start collecting cows, and if there's an overflow, I want you to start storing them and sending them out to other towns. Okay, yeah, looks good. Right, both of the towns, Boston and Portland, require beer. They're looking for alcohol. Okay, we're almost met the 320 passengers. That's almost complete. We've still not got Boston up to speed. Yeah, it's still missing a few resources. And one of the ones that we can get is beer. There should be beer nearby. Okay, beer is in Albany. If I hover over Albany, you'll see it's got a beer icon. We also get $500,000 for connecting to Albany. So really, we've got to make that a priority. Okay, now a bit of an issue is the fact that I would have liked to have gone across here and into Albany, but unfortunately, there's a train line there by the competitor, so he's kind of blocked us off. What we're going to have to do is sort of come around here and cross over the river. That's going to be expensive. We're going to have to pay for a bridge, and that's going to cost a fair bit of money. So I'm not sure if we can afford one at the moment, but let's take a look. So let's start off with a passenger transport. So starting on the line number 2, I guess you would call it. Let's do a bit of a turn. So we've got a 0% incline here, max speed. See if I can find that again. Yeah. Oh, have I got 0 without a tunnel? 1. This is fiddly. I've got 0 there, but that's awful. It's not in the right position. Okay, that sort of does it. I can come across here now. However, it won't let me go into this area because we haven't built a station in that town. So we need to build a station in Albany. So let's place it facing... we could either have it facing east-west, so we can come across here, or north-south, so we start heading that way. I'm going to put it this direction. Okay. Now, again, this is my line coming in here. I want it to... That's not too bad, but it's extremely expensive. I can't afford it at the moment. Look at the pricing. No matter what I do, it's coming up at like 590,000. I can't afford it at the moment, so we'll need to put this on hold. If I just right click and close out of here, we can come back when we've got a little bit more money. Okay, so let's continue. Transport 320 passengers complete. Boston to Portland. Good stuff. But we're not done. What's this? Slowed due to missing supplies. Oh, I forgot to build you some supplies. Apologies. I bet I did the same on this guy. No, I did. I built him a supply tower. Oh, that was my bad. My bad. He was completely out of water. Quite impressive. You can zoom all the way down into the towns. All the way to people talking. Very cool. Very pretty game. So I think I can get rid of this Boston to Portland line now. Seeing as I've got it covered by this guy who's now going between all of them. So I think what I'll do is... I mean, it is making a profit. But it's slowing things down. I might put it down to... This is the Boston to Portland. I might drop it down to one train. Got some research available. Innovation 300 now. Let's get the next upgrade. Makes our trains 5% faster. Can't go wrong with that. So looking at all the towns at the moment, you can see that when it comes to cloth and sugar, everyone is fully stocked thanks to our freight line. So this one resource, sugar resource, is being able to supply 3 whole cities or towns. I'm getting a lot of breakdowns at the moment. Its production's now being reduced due to its maximum inventory. So I really shouldn't have upgraded it. It was overkill. It's now producing too much for the train to be able to handle. The train is only taking one at a time now because there's not enough. I'm not connected to enough cities for demand, if you get me. everyone's now full of sugar. They've got more than enough already. I'm going to set up I've managed to build a track now, one single track to Albany. It was extremely expensive, 500,000. It's going to take a long time for me to be able to afford a second. So if I look to build the second from here to here, you'll see it's 182. That's going to take me a little while. So what I think I'll do is I want this 500,000 that they're offering for the connection. Let's build a line from Albany to New York. One single train, as I've got one track, and I'll make it. I might make it automatic for the moment, both freight and passengers. And I need to build a supply tower somewhere for it. Maybe there. Let's watch it go over the bridge, shall we? Controlling the camera is not much fun. So now that we're connected to Albany, I can start asking New York to store beer. Okay, because Albany supplies beer as a resource. I'm going to store it up in New York in order to be forwarded on to the other. So the train on its way back to Albany, I'm sure the people will be very happy to see that it's fully loaded with cloths and passengers and mail. So Albany should start increasing rather than decreasing its population. It's decreasing because it's missing a lot of resources. It's getting no wood, it's getting no meat, it's getting no sugar, it's getting no cloth. Well, it's about to get cloth, it's about to get sugar. They're about to come on this train. And I can definitely get it meat and lumber. Again, they are resources that I've got available in Boston. So I might set up New York, perhaps. I might say, hey, look, if anyone wants meat, I've got some available. We'll have it imported from Boston. Okay, we made the connection to Albany. That gave us 500,000, which should allow me to build the second line. Okay, let's accept that. I'm actually going to use that to build the other couple of lines as well. I'm going to build another one and another one. Okay, we've now got 4 lines running to New York. I'm out of money, though. I haven't got a lot of money left again. So let's build our gridians, or whatever they're called. There and there. There. And there. This should have automatically expanded. It did. Let's go to our existing line, Albany. Okay, we're going to edit you. So you're going to be my express, which means I need to go back to here. Sorry, I need to go back to this guy. So that way, that way, that way, and that way. Albany, let's pause you. Oh, you've got lots of good stuff on you. It's a shame to do this, but I have to edit you because you are now going from Albany on that line to New York, where you'll then head directly back again to Albany. And I want 2 trains. Happy? Good stuff. Next train. You are my freight train. You are travelling from Albany on that outgoing line to New York and back again. Delivering beer. Now, I could later on have him go a bit further, maybe to Boston or Portland, but I think I'll make New York City my hub. Okay? I'll bring everything from this direction into New York for the moment. So that's Locomotive John Bull, and I want 2 of yous again. And you're not automatic, you're freight. Shoot. Speed time up. Get me that little bit extra money that I need. Yep, got it. Bought. So hopefully they're going out on the right line. He is. He's carrying beers. Look at all the beers. Oh, the people in New York are going to have a good old drink tonight, aren't they? And there's another one all waiting. There's another one. What are you doing on that line? Oh no, you're express, aren't you? Hold on. What have I messed up here? You're freight, you should be express. What a numpty. Oh well. Let's have a look at Boston. Boston has got 11 beers on the way. Someone's scheduled to bring them in. Once he does that, this should jump right up. Okay, now we can do one better. Once we get a bit of cash, I can connect up to this resource. Right, let's stick a train station up here. We're expanding fast. Let's put a train line here. Okay, something like that. Let's hook it up. I'll just use the existing line. I'll hook it up to number 1 because this is my resource line. It's nice and cheap, 29. Thank you. I'll need to put down one of these. And direction can be any. And I'm going to set up a train from there to there. That can be one of the rubbish grasshoppers. And it's a freight. Continue. So we should start bringing in, what is that, wheat? Okay, wheat to Albany. And what I can do is set the warehouse to also want wheat. I keep going the wrong way every time. Okay, so I want to collect wheat here as well. There is still some left in the resource. So I think what we have to do is spend a bit of money here. We can build a warehouse. And in that warehouse, we can stock grain. And then we will transfer that grain eventually. Right, we've got 1 beer. Two more coming. We should have a lot more now. Yeah, it's full again. It's now transporting a full lot into the warehouse. So the warehouse has now got 6 incoming. Once 6 arrive there, any outgoing train should start taking it to New York. This line's losing money. We've got a load of sugar and I don't think there's any demand for it. Albany, now that it's connected, is now happy. If you can look, their population is now on the way up. It was on the way down. It's now on the way up. And in fact, it's got really high fulfillment, 65%. So it's going to be increasing its population quite quickly. now. The reason being, it's now connected to meat. The meat's coming from Boston. It's producing its own beer, so it's happy with its beer. It's now getting sugar. Again, we had a sugar resource, and it's getting cloth because we connected to New York. All of these extra connections and the grain one that we made are making the population very happy. We could get lumber to it as well. I'm definitely storing lumber, or I should be, in Boston. But the reason it's not getting that lumber is there isn't a direct train from Boston to Albany. Yeah, so we are. That's not the warehouse. Where's the warehouse? The warehouse has no lumber. And it's got no cows either. Because no one wants them. No one wants lumber, is that the case? They've got all the lumber they need. Guess Portland does too. Okay, no one wants lumber at the moment. So he's got a lot. He's got loads of cows. This train is full of cows. And they're all just staying in Boston. Looks like it. The warehouse isn't collecting any, is it? Nah, none. Okay, maybe that's only, that one train is only supplying enough for the ranch, and it's not supplying enough to be able to collect wood. Yeah, that's dropping pretty fast. It's only transporting cows. It's not giving it a chance to collect wood. Okay, I'll sort that out in the next episode. We can have a good look at that. But having a look at all my railways, everything is in profit. Some of them are making a lot of profits. The express trains are making the most. I might do away with that Boston to Portland one. I think if I look at it at the moment, look, it's only like a quarter full, less than a quarter full going each way. So I think I'll do away with that guy. We don't need him, and we'll just stick to the express lines we've got. Maybe add a train or two to each new route. But anyway, that was episode 1. We did very well. We've connected up 1, 2, 3, 4 cities, a whole bunch of resources. Things are going well. People are happy. We're making money. We've got more research that we can spend. I think that this guy is in trouble. I think there's a new number 1 locomotive line on its way. I'm going to beat you. I'm going to get you. I'm going to be number 1. See you at the next episode.